Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to tonight's training, our Monday 7 o'clock training. And tonight we have the pleasure of having Heather Reed on with us. She is from New York and she's a new diamond and she has so much that she can teach us. And I'm just so excited she's here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Heather.
Yeah, so my husband Matt and I, he was gonna join, but if you were on a minute ago, I was just saying we've got just a really crazy week here, and it's time change, so it's 10 p.m. here, so I wasn't able to join. But yeah, so we're in like upstate New York. It's like 3 hours from the city. We're not in the city or anything, and we have a 4.5-month-old Luca, and yeah, so it's and we've only been married for a year, so if you do the math, he was a honeymoon baby. And so we've my husband is an engineer at Lockheed Martin, so total, other end of the spectrum of what you would think for a doterra couple and everything. So he does that, but he also helps me with the business, and this is what I do full time.
So, do you mind me asking how old you are?
Yeah, I just 2 weeks ago turned 26.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. I mean, can you imagine like 5 years from now what your doTERRA business is going to look like? Because
I know. Well, it's really funny because and for like you guys probably don't know, but when we started the oil games, or not, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. When did the oil games start?
Let's see, we're in August. It ended last month, July, so it started in June.
Beginning of June, right? So we probably hooked up like end of May or something. So I had actually just hit platinum for the first time in April. First time ever, mind you, in the same month I just gave birth for the first time, so it was a whirlwind. So when I got put in an accountability group with you and Lori, and you guys were both blue diamonds and I was a fresh platinum, I was like, oh, what am I in for? And I literally was like, well, they say if you want to be a diamond, you got to hang with diamonds. So I very much do surround myself with things like that. They say like you're going to be your character and even your finances will be the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And so that I've always done that. And we'll probably get into like my story, but like I began in college, and even then I was very much not to say like above any of my peers or anything like that, but just very different mindset and very much set on the future and important things and stuff like that. So the accountability group was really good for me to for you guys to influence me and see that.
So I just want to say kudos to all of you who are doing oil games or have ever done oil games or are doing Silver Club or have ever signed up for Diamond Club, because you are surrounding yourself with successful people. Mm-hmm. And you are getting their vibe, you are getting their example. And so I want you guys to be fearless the way that Heather has been fearless to, surround yourself with people who are successful, right? No one's going to judge you. You have, it just is a win-win, right? Okay, so I want to ask you, so when you went into college, like what was your major? And I guess you're a go-getter by nature, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. But it's really funny. I went to art school, so I majored in painting and photography, and I had just always been into art my whole life pretty much. And but the other part of that is that I was, I don't know, not even halfway through my freshman year, I think, and I was like, I know I like art, but like what's like the purpose and like the meaning and all that. So, and I knew I wanted to like help people. And so my school, I don't know if anybody would know of it, probably not. It's a small private school, but
cool. What is it? What was it called? Or what is
St. Rose. It's in Albany, New York.
St. Rose?
St. Rose, yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't there. I was researching things once I got into school, because I was like, what am I doing? What's my path? Because again, I'm always futuristic and visionary and all that, and how am I going to help people and everything. So I then found the idea of art therapy. And so my school actually didn't have that as a major. So I kind of created the prerequisites on my own. So I minored in psychology so that eventually, after I had my bachelor's in fine art, that I could go on to grad school for art therapy and get in with those like prereqs. So I was doing that, and that was like, I don't know, great and everything, like just whatever. As art school is a pretty weird place, but but it was good. But so what happened is my junior year of school, which now was 5 years ago, I actually ended up going through a bunch of health things, which I've always been healthy, active, all of that stuff. And so I ended up having these mysterious, I don't know, chronic fatigue, joint pain, all this stuff. And it ended up being an autoimmune disease. And so it got so bad. I mean, painting, photography, like you need your hands for both of those. And all those classes, by the way, for like studio classes are all 3 hours for just one class. So it was I honestly almost had to like not necessarily drop out, but like put school on pause because it was so bad. And so anyway, I found that summer. So this was exactly 5 years ago. Yeah. That summer I found myself stumbled upon a doterra class, just literally like my cousin called me and was like, I'm picking you up. I'm going to this oil thing, like on a whim. Crazy, by the way, how one little thing like that can change your whole life. So I went with her, and I actually knew of essential oil. So I thought, I was getting the stuff from Wegmans. Do you guys have Wegmans there on the West Coast?
No, is that like a drugstore?
It's like a mega grocery store. I think it's an East Coast thing, but it's super
Oh,
popular.
okay.
Yeah. But
What is it
anyway,
called?
so
Medmans.
Wegmans.
Oh, Wegmans. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so they have a whole nature's market, and I would get fake essential oils there. I didn't know they were fake. So so then I was like, whoa, I didn't know there were oils for this and this and inflammation and all this stuff. So long story short is that was actually right in July as well, 5 years ago. And I remember that because it was around my birthday, and I got the Natural Solutions kit. And my parents split that with me, and that was their half of it was my 21st birthday gift. So yeah, so that was memorable.
Awesome.
But
I love
so
it.
and the thing was then that was a whole health thing or whatever. And then what happened was I went back to school following the summer, and that was my senior year. And I started telling my friends and my roommates first all saw me at the end of the last semester, not really able to function. And then I came back and I'm like, you guys need these, like, woo. And they're like, what the heck? So I go, and not knowing what I'm even doing, I enroll all three of my roommates 2 home essentials kits, which by the way, this was when they were the 275 kits. So 2 home essentials kits and 1 natural solutions. Okay. So other side note, don't let people tell you broke college students aren't, worth your time, because it's not even really true. Don't avoid that demographic. But so anyways, so I enrolled them. I didn't know that I even enrolled them. I thought I just kind of was showing them the website and somehow enrolled them. And this was also back when you didn't need to enter your social. Everybody was a wellness advocate. So I just got a check in the mail. I had no idea, because I was on LLV. I was already doing my order. So then my upline, I don't know if anybody knows her, but she's my blue upline, Wendy Reifenberg. She's just the woman who enrolled me. That's all I knew her from. And she called me and was like, probably like, who's this like 20-year-old girl, like with all this volume underneath her and all this stuff. And so she reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to like do this? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was just I don't know, maybe. So she came, drove a couple hours, taught classes, or taught a class in my college apartment. And so the rest of the story there is basically just that I decided to so bring it full circle, sorry, with my like kind of career path and like major. I actually dead in my tracks stopped. This was about fall time now. So I'd been using oils for going on 6 months or something, a little bit less. And
You took some time off school, right? Because of your health problems, you took some time off school.
I was about to, and then I didn't have to because of oils, honestly, and lifelong vitality. So So because it was really bad. It was the spring that it was bad, but it was the tail end of school. I just had to make it to summer. And then throughout the summer is kind of when I started with doTERRA, and I came back the next semester doing really well. And so, but yeah, so I stopped actually dead in my tracks of applying to grad schools for art therapy because I wanted to do doTERRA. So I really stopped applying, and I fell so in love with the product. I knew it from my own use. I had researched it. I fell in love with the company. I actually remember having actual tears in my eyes when they talked about how it's very mission based, and you can go on these trips, and how funny, right, that we're going to go on the sourcing trip to Hawaii and stuff. But even just the healing hand stuff, like I was like, this is it. Like, oh, I get goosebumps now talking about it, but because now I'm kind of seeing it come to fruition for me. But so anyway, I didn't, I mean, I don't know, I don't recommend that for everybody maybe, but I really didn't go to grad school because of doTERRA. And that was, for me, that was the best choice that I could have made, because uh, you know, coming out of it and everything, out of school and everything, I had no idea about the debt I was accruing with school. And so part of my story ends up being that you know, doTERRA helped me actually pay off all my student loans within a year. And me and Matt are both totally debt free. So
That's a great way to start your life together.
yeah.
Debt
Yeah.
free. That's amazing. I love it. Okay, so then what did your parents say when you're like, I want to do this?
Do you know what's funny? So Wendy actually met with my parents about doing the business before I ever even wanted to. So
Are you
my
serious?
dad, yeah, so they don't, well, so my dad was in and out of, he always had a really great job, and he, some pretty bad situations of getting laid off and things like that. So, and they're very entrepreneurial too. And so they were kind of exploring, they were in the middle of actually opening up their own business near us, and so they kind of wanted to explore that idea, and so they didn't end up really fully going for it. I of course did, and so they ended up being, my mom ended up being like on my front line, and they would share and things like that, and they love oils and all that, but it didn't end up quite being for them. But with that said, they were very supportive. They
Mhm.
are very supportive of it and everything. And they know that that's how I roll too. I've been an entrepreneur since I was probably 12 years old in some way or another. And so even with my art and things, that has all been freelance,
Right, right.
that I've done honestly since high school. I've been paid for my art and things like that. So yeah, so
And photography,
they're
you do
very supportive.
photography. Uh-huh. You do photography too. So that's another,
Mhm.
right, form of your art.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you have a faith background, right? So
Mhm.
like how has that played into your business and your falling in love with doTERRA? Because
Oh
we
my
have a lot
gosh.
of Christians in our group.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I can't even talk about it enough. Like, it, first of all, I feel this way with not even just doTERRA, right? Like, it's so hard to think you have to, like, with anything, is this the right career path for me? Is this the right person for me? Is this the right way I should drive here to avoid an accident? Like, I mean, it's just, I can't even, every decision you make in life, if I didn't have faith to kind of, you know, have my back and guide me and give you wisdom and discernment and different things like that, then I wouldn't know what clothes to put on in the morning. You know what I mean? So just overall, I would say it's definitely a guiding thing in my life regardless. And then when you hear of things, you know, like I've always pictured myself going on mission trips and doing all this stuff and having purpose to work. So when doTERRA is presented to you and you already have that background, that's what happened to me. It's just like, ah, it's like the heavens open up. It's like, this is it. And so, and that's appealing, you know, probably to everybody. But when that's really spoken over your life, it becomes very obvious to you. And I think also, and trust me, this is not perfect either. I've had my own scenarios with this, and we all have, but like even with picking your front line and deciding who to invest in and how to go about situations, like all that is really rooted in faith, because you do need that
Right,
wisdom and
discernment.
that guidance. And then I would say another thing is a big thing that Matt and I talk about a lot is rest. And I think that's very hard, and it's hard with us. I mean, you heard me. Matt's getting ready to run his second 100-mile race this weekend. He's on his second master's degree from an Ivy League school. Like, we just had a baby, went platinum, and like, it sounds nuts, so it's surprising when people hear us say we're actually very against the hustle culture. And so because that really ultimately is burnout. And not to say you can't hustle. I know you can interchange words hard work and hustle. So we don't mean, like, we definitely believe in hard work, clearly. But the burnout culture is really what it stems from, is that you are in control. Your destiny is up to you. And like, yes, to a degree, for sure. Like, there's hard work and there's, planning for things and all of that. But there's also that, like, where's the room for God in that scenario? And so when it's all on you, how do you even feel okay resting? So even me knowing that, I'm like, I think I need a nap. Like even I have to talk myself down a bit, but you supposed to lay in your rest and stuff like that, you will burn out. So like, you like, it's
Let
kind
me,
of the
let me
same.
just interrupt you for just a second. I know you're on
Yeah.
a roll, but I think that the enemy just cut you out.
Just cut me out.
Yeah, you were like really spotty the last couple of sentences. So I want to make sure
Oh
that
no.
everyone hears it, because I really feel like what you had to say, I mean, if I could kind of piece it together, what were you saying about being against the hustle culture and something about rest?
Yeah. Okay. Let me, you know what? Let me switch to my hotspot so that maybe it won't do that. Hang on. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. So just to kind of recap that, if you guys didn't catch that, sorry about that. But yeah, like so for as much, like we definitely are goal setters. We are, like I said, visionary, futuristic, all of that stuff. As much as we are all of those things, because of that, it surprises people to hear that we are actually, yeah, against the hustle culture and this whole idea that you are your destiny, you make the decisions, if you're the master of everything, and all of that. And to a degree, yeah, there's for sure, hard work and planning things and being smart and all of that. But then there's no room for God, though, when it's all you decide, your destiny's up to you and all of that. It really just puts yourself on a pedestal, and really in a healthy way, because what happens is, again, it leads to burnout, because what I was saying before is, like, you can't even feel okay taking a nap if you're like, oh well, if I rest, I don't produce. And so the whole idea when you have faith involved is like, I'm gonna rest and so Matt and I Sabbath every Saturday. That also is not perfect, especially we are definitely in a season that is a little crazier than we would like it to be, but it's just a season that we're in. But most of the times we do try to Sabbath on Saturdays, and that's what we do. And so a lot of times people see that as like a chore or something, or how could you ever do that? But what it's meant to be is actually a gift to be received from God. It's a gift for him to say, I can do a lot more in your one day of rest than you could in 7 days of hustle, really. And so that's part of our success story too, or we want to make sure it is actually rest. And so yeah, to circle back to what your question was, where faith comes in, really is, there is so much to rely on God with, in everything, obviously, but definitely within doTERRA as well. Like you just see things show up, whether it's people or volume or just you guys in the accountability group, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so, you see God all along the whole way when you make him the center of your business.
I love that. I definitely love that, because I know that when we are pushing for rank or getting to that end of the month, it's just work and it can be tiring. And then just to keep your boundaries of having a Sabbath, I love
Mm-hmm.
that. That's a
Yeah.
great example to set too. So, and I totally agree. I think that, do you feel that it is really the Holy Spirit that leads people to say yes and to do business with you and even to purchase?
I do. And I do, regardless of if that person has their own faith practice, because it's definitely not, like anything of faith doesn't have to disclude any or you know what I mean, like only target other people's faith or anything. So what I've said from the beginning, and you know, not everybody is in doTERRA, and that's okay. But I've always said that everyone in doTERRA is doing God's work, whether they know it or not, you know? And so, and we're all, and whether you do, you know, proclaim Christianity or anything like that, whether you do or not, we're all spiritual beings. That's how we were created. And so, I do think even, outside of faith, even just on a customer basis, that they are spoken to as well, through doTERRA, because it really is the gift of the earth. You know, I do feel that there's, something divine about that, and that God placed these plants and different things for us for a reason here. And also I think when you function from a place of that, what, and again, this isn't you pushing it on people, you don't even need to talk about it. And you guys who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about, that you definitely carry a light with you, and you carry a sense of peace with you, and a confidence that you don't need to even explain. People know that it's just something different. They might not even know what it is either, but it's something different, and that attracts people to you, even just as, customers.
That I love that. Okay, so do you have a favorite oil success story?
Well, I guess I have to tell the story of my grandma. Yeah, just last week, or yeah, last week. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, aside from my own health and everything, that was definitely great as well. I mean, in short, by the way, LLV is what I accredit everything to for me. I mean, I don't even take like an Advil anymore. So, but anyway, but what happened last week, I would say is the most like instant, like whoa type thing to happen. And so my grandma actually, so she's about to be 86, and she's okay. Like she's starting to go a little bit in her mind, but she was very, you know, for the most part with it and everything like that. Well, she fell down a flight of stairs, and so she was knocked unconscious, and by the time the ambulance got there, she was not breathing, so we don't even know how long she wasn't breathing for. So she was immediately put on a ventilator, and by the time my parents, you know, drove 2 hours here, my uncle drove 5 hours here, and some of the other local siblings of my dad's, they all got there. They come to realize she was 100% dependent on a ventilator, but her wishes are that she didn't want to be on a ventilator, which is just came so out of left field for us, because that wasn't even remotely in the cards anytime soon. So so they had to make the decision to take her off of it. And I actually had reached out to you, Tina, and Lori, and again, so thankful for that accountability group, but and just asking for prayer actually. And then and also you guys were talking about, Lori just the day before was talking about on your call, right, using frankincense for, yeah, so I was on that call, I was listening in here, and she was talking about using frankincense to get some relative out of a coma. So they wouldn't let me in the hospital with all the COVID stuff going on. They already were not supposed to let in all of my other family. So I couldn't go in. So I called my mom and I was like, what oils do you have on you? She didn't have frankincense. And at this point, it was kind of seeming too late for that. They kind of made the decision. They knew basically what was going to happen, taking her off that ventilator. And so I said, what oils do you have on you? And my mom had lavender and peace. And I was like, okay, and this was seen after you told me to at least do lavender so she could pass more peacefully. So at this point I said, okay, put it on her, and hopefully that helps her pass more peacefully. Like, this all just happened within hours. It was crazy. She was still unconscious at this point. So my mom goes in, and they each got to go in one by one and say their goodbyes, really. And so, she went in, and I told her massage it on her hands and back of her neck if you can, and whatever. So then she calls me after. She's like, okay, they're ready. They're going to take her off the ventilator 20 minutes at a time just to wean her off. And that's pretty much going to be it. She's 100% dependent on it. And so I was like, oh, man, I was like, I just wish you at least had peppermint on you, because peppermint increases your oxygen intake by 20%. So I was thinking just even that, you know, might help, even though they're weaning her, it still might help. I mean, that's got to feel like drowning, right? Like that's just, and so I was just thinking maybe it would help that. And she goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, I ended up finding peppermint in my purse before I went in, and I put it on the back of her neck. And I was like, oh, okay, good. And they take her off the ventilator, and her oxygen stayed at 98%. And within a half hour, she opened her eyes, and with the hour, she said hi to the nurse, and now she's awake and
Oh my goodness. That's
awake.
incredible. That's
She's awake.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's wow. Amazing. Amazing. Always carry your oils with you guys.
Seriously.
And really, peppermint, that is a lifesaver, because I've had people in our church faint. And then I would go to them, like literally in service, the pastor's preaching. And I go up to the person who's fainting. I'm like, are you okay? What's your name? And I give them peppermint to smell as I'm talking to them. And they're coming to. They're like waking up. So that peppermint is amazing.
Yeah,
that is a great story, Heather. I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So my other question is social media. You're like an amazing social media person. So you guys follow her on social media. She's really good. Okay. You're Heather Reed, right, on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
She does stories all the time. I think you're on Instagram too, right? Are you Heather Reed on Instagram?
Yeah, I do mostly stuff on Instagram. I try to do both, but Instagram, it's just Heather Holistic, just no numbers or anything. They're just Heather Holistic.
Right. So the Heather Holistic is linked to your Heather Reed personal on Facebook. And so
yeah, so it's kind of the same content. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So maybe for people who are not as like Instagrammy, do you have any tips? Like, did you ever have a moment where you like, oh, I don't want to be on, I don't want to be filmed? I mean, anything like that? Like, what do you say? Or, I mean, you're beautiful, and your
thank
boy
you.
is
But
beautiful.
that's also why they have Instagram filters. So you don't need to look good. You don't need to look good.
You don't need to.
No, yeah, actually. So it's funny. I built for 2 years, I think, before I even did anything on social media. So at that point I was silver and approaching gold. So it's definitely shifted. Since, and that takes time, obviously. So now at this point, that's definitely it's a game changer. I do most of my building online now, and that's even pre-COVID. So, I do still, talking pre-COVID, I did still do in-person things, but even majority of things that connections I got for those in-person classes, I got from online, like made those connections online. So a lot of stuff can happen there. But yeah, there's definitely, so the key with online is consistency. For multiple reasons. I think for the people viewing, for your own kind of confidence and things, but also for your algorithms. So Instagram specifically, Facebook kind of does too, but Instagram especially kind of favors you for consistency, and they'll help your algorithm so more people see your stuff. So yeah, I definitely, it's not all the time I feel like putting my face on there, and I don't all the time. What I tell people is, if you don't know where to start and everything, like everything might be like, oh my God, you get that like picture there with that writing or whatever. Like, honestly, there's so much you can do, but just to start, what I tell people on my team too, who are like, oh, I'm so afraid to like start in there and everything. And they think sometimes that they need to like, if they're like, oh, I've never like posted on social media, so, or like on stories or anything, so isn't it weird if I'm just on there? And so I'm like, well, you don't need to make a debut. People think they need to grab their phone and be like, hello, so like, and you just don't. You can ease into it. And so what I tell people is start by just posting, and stories are key, by the way. Like, your posts are good too, and you'll kind of see, like, if you do see my Instagram, you'll kind of see the posts on my like grid that like actually go to my page are very different than my stories. Stories are very like my personal life, oils, funny stuff, a ton of pictures and videos of Luca, which is really cute. That's a good way to get people to your page. Have a cute baby. So what I tell people, to do is just, when you go to use your oils, before you go to use it, just pick up your phone and take a quick picture of it and just write something simple. It does not need to be crazy. Like, you're going to put on deep blue, literally take a quick picture and be like, oh, so glad I have this. My back's killing me. Or like, whatever, move on. And keep doing that just to start. Obviously, you can get more and more in depth with things. You can pop on there and show your face and talk about something. I do really like rich content. That's what I try to put in like my posts on my grid, and I definitely like to educate and everything, but it can be that simple because people need simplicity, number one. And so if they eventually, when you're sharing the things you're doing daily anyway, chances are everybody else is doing their laundry, brushing their teeth, all those things. So eventually, and this won't happen right away, but you'll hit a, quote unquote pain point with them or a point of interest where they'll be like, oh wait, tell me more about that. And you really will have people come to you. It's going to take consistency, but you will.
Do you have like a certain like goal you want to hit every day, like put a story on every day or put a post on every day or every other day or anything like that? Or you just
I try not to let my story ever like run out. So
right.
like they only last for 24 hours. So and that sounds like a lot more work than it is, but it's really not, because like if I post something right now, that's going to last for 24 hours from now. So if tomorrow's really crazy and I cannot even touch my phone, I know I have something at least up on my story till, this time tomorrow night or something like that. So I do try to keep something like that. And it's not crazy. I mean, it really can be a picture of your food or something, you know what I mean? So just something like, let people in your life for sure. Because another thing online is, it can't just look like a catalog. Online's not going to work if you just are only and there's a time and place for those graphics. I got them all over now from the thing today, the promotion, but there's a time and place for that, but it cannot just look like a catalog that people are going to flip through. And there are things you want to avoid that are salesy and whatever, but you guys know the deal. You know the doTERRA culture. That's not how we function. And so don't overthink it. Like, honestly, like, get on. I mean, I tell people too, like, if you're that nervous, like, get on your Instagram and say that. Like, get on there and be like, hey, this is, like, just to be honest, this is really weird for me, but I feel this conviction to share these products. And so all I'm going to be starting to do on my page is like share some things here and there that have helped me and my family. I get it. Like, you can even say this because like people have all these fears. I'm like, so say it, like, speak it out. Like my generation, this is actually one of the reasons I did take 2 years to start social media, is because my generation is all, well, now it's everybody, but like everybody around the time I started doTERRA was selling everything. It was like boss babes and join my team and I'm selling this and a party for this. And it was like really annoying. You know what I mean? Like a lot, and not everybody, but you guys know, you've gotten the cold contacts like that are like, hey, da 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 da, and it's whatever. So there's definitely things to be careful of that. But if you're just like I talk about that on my social media. Like, I'm like, hey guys, this is not that type of thing. I flat out say that, like, so they can hear my voice and just say like, this is what it is. This is why it's different and whatever. So you just trickle out things like that, because they do need to build trust with you is the thing. So if you can let in, so kind of circling back again to your question of like, things you share, like I do try to share something oil related each day, even if it's super simple, like just to keep that on the forefront. But then I also, I mean, honestly, majority of the time it is personal stuff. So there's like an 80-20 rule, and this depends how you want to go with your social media. If you're going to use your personal page to talk about doTERRA, then what you want to do is have 80% of your personal life and only 20% of doTERRA. So like on my Facebook that goes like to the public, that's what I do. I only pick and choose. I do not post everything oils there because I know not everybody cares. I post the stuff that I think applies to a lot of people and would get, a lot of attention in that way, and that's really helpful. But then when you have a business page, like so on my Instagram that is dedicated to that, then there's still an 80-20 rule, but it's 80% free education and only 20% of like hooking a sale. So like always educating. That's what I mean with the consistency, is educating for free, offering all this content. And then there's that 20% where you give like a call to action, or like we, and I know you guys do too, have like weekly classes and stuff. So definitely, at least once a week you're promoting that. And a thing that I do to kind of help balance that out. And this is not perfect either. Like all this stuff is not perfect. This is just general things to keep in mind. But around every Friday, so I'm constantly educating, and then around every Friday, I will post some type of call to action. So for instance, in the beginning of the month, I always post the promotions for the month, just so people that are already customers that follow me, they can see them right away. Or if it's a good enrollment promotion, people can see that right away. Every Friday, I try to remind them of those promotions, maybe post pictures of enrollment kits. And like my offerings, like I offer like a welcome package for new enrollments and things like that. The reason I do it every Friday is because that's, going to be 4 or 5 times a month. So you kind of balance out, bringing that 80%, but also Friday's payday. So some people really do, wait until they have the funds. And I know even in a weekend, I've had people ready to enroll with a huge kit, and then they slips their mind over the weekend and they spend too much over the weekend, and now they're waiting until then, and it keeps going. So I try to always have an opportunity and a call to action there, but then the rest is building trust and relationship from me to them, and interacting with people too, and educating.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, but it's also important, like when they like respond to you, when you see that little like
Uh-huh.
airplane thing, like
Yeah.
it's important that you interact with them, right? So like
Yeah.
if they like say clap 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 to your story, like what is nice to do? Like a little heart or thanks for watching, or what do you do?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and that can vary too, depending on the person. Sometimes I'm at a point where I might not even actually know quite who is following me, whether somebody like kind of referred them to my page or something. So yeah, I might, double tap it and like it, and or just send a heart back or something. Or if they respond with something, and to be honest too, half the responses that I get, or more than that probably, are really to like pictures and stuff of Luca, just like cute stuff. So really, like, don't be afraid to put your personal life out there and connect with people like that, because you wouldn't believe how many, like, now I got all these like mom friends, you know what I mean, now that I have a baby. So definitely, like, online is huge, but you do have to do it right. So you definitely can't discount the personal relationship and everything. So definitely responding to comments, to DMs, liking other people's posts too. Just make sure it's genuine. Like, if you're trying to get at this certain person, they can tell, they know you sell something, and they know that you're just trying to buddy to them. So just be genuine. Like, if you don't actually like what they're posting, don't bother. But if you do, then like, talk about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with Facebook because I know, like, if they want to message me, they do the Facebook Messenger, right? So,
Yeah.
like, on Instagram, if they want to, like, personally say something to you, that's that little airplane thing, right?
Yeah, and that's essentially the same thing as so that's like your DM, so your direct
Oh, that's
messages.
yeah.
It's really the same thing as Facebook Messenger, just for
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay. Okay. And then I have another question. I know that I've heard your husband and you talk about legacy. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you're like wise beyond your years, by the way. I just want to give
Oh,
you that.
we just read a lot of books.
Awesome. Oh, the right.
Yeah. So
My husband's here now. Dr. Mark's here. Heather.
yeah. Hello.
That's
So yeah, actually,
100 miles over the next what?
He's running 100 miles?
Day and a half.
yes.
He's the ultra marathon.
Oh, that's ultra.
Yeah, that's ultra. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead. Legacy.
But yeah, no. So speaking of that though, like, all this like wisdom and everything, like, it's definitely not just like us. But I would say, and this has to do with actually legacy as well, so that this is a good topic, is that we always like to have mentors, and whether they know it or not. So like I said, you can surround yourself with people, and this is doterra or not, so surrounding yourself with people, and again, if you are in the church, then that's a great place to, like, for us, like, they say a good rule of thumb is to always have, like, well, for marriage and stuff, but this could just be on your own too, but like having a couple or a person mentoring you, and then having a couple or person that you are mentoring, so that you are practicing, being mentored, but then also developing your own leadership. And so we do that a lot in the form of real people, in within the church and within doterra, like I mentioned, even just within, like, you guys and stuff like that. And then books, and honestly, it's also going back to social media is there are actually a ton of our like favorite pastors that we follow all on Instagram, and we feel like we're best friends with them. They don't know who we are, but like we really kind of get to know them, and so we will read
Who are
their
some of those people?
What's that?
Who are some of those pastors?
Let's see. We've got one of our favorites is Judah Smith. There is Rich Wilkerson, Robert Madu, let's see, Chad Veach. There's a whole bunch of them. So this is a resource I want to give you too on legacy. So I don't know if you a lot of you probably have heard of him, I'm not sure, but Jefferson Bethke and his wife Alyssa Bethke, he became popular or he actually went viral overnight for a YouTube video called Why I Love Jesus But Hate Religion, and now it's like a spoken word video from years ago, and now he is like a speaker and he writes tons of books. He's really, really great, and this is actually where we get a lot of our motive or like our inspiration for the whole idea of legacy within family, which relates to business also, because he is part of a thing with another guy, Jeremy Pryor, called Family Teams, and that's another thing you can follow on Instagram as well. But that they actually did it their first time in-person workshop, and we went to that last fall. So we'd only been married a couple of months and pregnant for a couple months, and we learned a lot about what they believe in is building a multi-generational family team on mission. And so that's kind of to sum up, like, honestly, the central focus of really like our lives next to just God, you know? So I'll say that again, it's building a multi-generational family team on mission. And so it talks a lot about legacy, leaving that for your family. It talks a lot about the history of like the Jewish culture because they're so good at that. And so that's a good resource to look into. And so one of the ways we're doing that is honestly through doTERRA. That's a huge vehicle for us to do that, because that is building the financial pipeline and everything. And part of legacy too, I mean, it even says right in the Bible that you even to leave, you should be leaving an inheritance to your descendants. And so we want to do that, and we want to create a good life for them, not just with material things, but just having healthy finances and having that carry down. Like we hope that Matt has actually never had debt. He was fortunate enough to learn those lessons before he even was in a scenario, but I've only had my student loans, which I paid off, but we hope that I'm the last person from us on to have debt from our descendants. So that's kind of part of our legacy that doTERRA is helping with. And then obviously, of course, the spiritual things and traditions and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I loved one of your Instagram stories where you're talking about doing a monthly read diaries or something like that.
Yeah, we call it the Reed Family Archives. Matt named it that, but yeah, we do a month. We at the end of every month, at least once a month, we sit down and record a video anywhere from like 25 minutes to like an hour, and we kind of recap like events that happened in our lives in the previous month, things that happened like in the world, which is crazy. Like it's so weird. Like I like talking about everything going on right now. And we're like as we talk to the camera, we're like, well, you guys probably read about this in history books, but this is what's going on. So we do a lot of that. And then we tie in things we want to pass down, like values of ours and like our perceptions of the world and how we're handling it and stuff, so that can live on forever. Like we have an archive of all these videos that we want to keep passed down.
So are these videos that you put on your Instagram, or they're personal for your family?
Yeah, no, we haven't put them anywhere. I'm not sure anybody would honestly be super interested in them at this point, because it's just kind
might go viral.
Yeah, I know. So we just have them saved to ourselves for the most part.
This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've learned so much from you, and you're so much younger than us. We've learned so much. I really think it's because you surround yourself with, first of all, God, and then secondly, with really awesome mentors. So
yes,
I have truly enjoyed this, and I want to make sure that in the next 10 minutes, other people have a chance to ask you questions too. So I just want to open it up, guys. If you want to have a question, you don't want to answer it, but you want to put it in the chat, go ahead and do that. I will read it out loud to Heather. I mean, she is just awesome. I love her. I'm so thankful that the Lord brought us together. And I know that we're going to be lifelong friends, and we'll be elbow
to elbow.
when we're on the trips. I don't know. Hopefully hugging.
I know those trips better not get canceled. I'll be so
I know, right? I know. Okay, yeah. So come on, guys. If you have any questions, I mean, she went fast, right?
One is.
I mean, she graduated from college, paid off her debt, got married, hit platinum the month that she gave birth, and then hit diamond 2 months later, right? And she looks rested. And I do think it's that Sabbath. So, do you not do social media then on the Sabbath, or you do like social media of your Sabbath?
So it varies. Like Matt is very type A, where he's like, you're gonna do it right. So he's like, lock the phones in a box. And so we did that for a while, and I realized
On memory.
I actually do have pretty good boundaries with my phone and business and stuff. And so now having Luca and stuff, we do like having our phones to take mostly to take just pictures of him, whether we post them or not. So if I do want to post a cute thing of him during the day, and then kind of like, but not really be responding to a lot of things, then we'll do that. And like I said, that varies too. Like this weekend he's going to be running, so that's not going to be Sabbath. So we'll fit it in a different day and things like that. So it varies, but we do try to not be consumed, I guess, by
right. Yeah. I mean, let's not be legalistic about it, but let's keep in the spirit of having a Sabbath. So I love that. Okay. So any questions, anybody?
One was,
okay,
what is your Instagram name?
And they said Heather Holistic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so also just this question comes up a lot too when I talk about social media, is that people ask if you should have a business page versus a personal. And so I just want to explain it, because you might realize like sometimes I actually do have two, but I want to explain that because I don't think everybody has to do that. I think it's kind of up to you, and I'll give you a couple scenarios. So like you'll see I tag myself probably in one of the pictures of me, like my personal one. It's just Heather Reed, but minus the second E in Heather. That one was taken already. But so the reason I have two, though, just so to not confuse you, I, again, with having like a history or a background in photography, I just like pictures. So like, and not all of them are like photography-esque or like whatever, but I liked the freedom of just posting whatever I want, or just a picture of Luca or something that doesn't need to have a caption I thought about, and whatever. So my personal one is just kind of for that. And then my oil one, the Heather Holistic, you'll notice on that one, that is where on my stories, I am posting all my personal life. So I really kind of use my business one as business and personal, but the difference is on my grid where the pictures actually get posted to your page, there I keep those, not necessarily just doTERRA, but within the brand I'm trying to cultivate. So sometimes I post on these topics about legacy or family or being debt free or something like that, but I kind of keep that page for like my brand and like oils and all the holistic things. So if you're looking to do that, you need to gauge your audience, because again, remember when I started, a lot of my peers were selling a bunch of things and everyone did not like it. So a lot of people were like making fun of it and stuff. So I didn't want my people that I actually was friends with to unfollow my account because they didn't care about oils and then I lose connection with them altogether. I wanted them to be able to go to my oil page and actively click follow and knew what they were following me for. So you just kind of have to gauge your audience a little bit and see what you think is best for you for that.
So did you see the question from Dwayne, which is, what are some of your challenges in growing your business? What have been some of your challenges, and how did you deal with them?
I would say my biggest challenge, which probably you guys can relate, is knowing when you have a frontline leader, and how, and even with other leaders that maybe aren't directly on your front line, but like how much to invest in them, of your energy and things like that. And I think the best way I've dealt with it, again, not perfect, definitely still learning, but being very, very upfront and clear and honest, and that I used to sugarcoat things. I didn't mean to, but that I realized that was my nature just as a human. I very much was a people pleaser, and that is a natural tendency of mine. I have to check myself on that a lot. Like I'm very much like a rescuer and want to swoop in and save the day and everything. And I realized that only hurts it enables people, but it also builds resentment and stuff. So I would say, my thing is, if I could summarize it, is like, if people take a step towards me, I will sprint towards them. I really will. And I will invest, and I'll give them the time and build, a relationship with them and all this stuff. But if they're going to stay kind of put, then I'm going to stay put. And I'm not going to chase. I don't chase people. Like, that's the number one thing. And Elise says, I learned a lot of that from Elise and Ange Peters, is she says, Elise kind of really bluntly says, to people who are, like duct tape silvers, they're like, oh, if you could just mentor my team and da da da. And she says, the only difference between you as a duct tape silver and me as a double presidential or whatever the heck she is now, she says, is that, or through triple diamond. She says the only difference is that I wouldn't have wasted a minute on the people you chose as your front line. And she flat out says that in the call. It was from the Diamond Dash call. It was on the committed and capable one, I think. She's like, I wouldn't have wasted a minute on those people, because it's us kind of like almost thinking people are builders when they're not, and things like that. And Elise is clear, and she's to the point, and that kind of stuff. So I try to do that now better.
What if the person who's running to you is not enrolled to you? Do you ever ask for the enrollment?
Within your own team?
Yeah. Like the frontline leader is just not,
yeah, I have in one
below or asking you lots of questions, and they're like not your enroller.
Yeah, I won't bother unless it really is going to make a difference. So I did in one scenario where my friend actually was just totally not doing the business at all. And not even her 100 PV. And so it really actually kept me from rank for a long time. And so if I had the enrollment of the person right under her who I was, working with, basically everything would be solved. So in that case, I definitely did ask for the enrollment there, but pretty much only if it is a situation that would really affect people in that way.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great answer. Any other questions, guys?
So again, you don't do as much Facebook. You do more Instagram right now.
But it links to Facebook.
But it links both.
I do
doing some of the other media things as well. Are you guys doing some TikTok, or that's more for fun and not necessarily for your business?
I haven't gotten into TikTok yet. But I also hear that
generation, you're too old now. No.
I know. It really is, like, just even like a couple years younger than me. I'm like, where do you guys learn this stuff? But anyway, so so I haven't gotten into TikTok, but no, it's mostly just Instagram and Facebook. So as far as stories go, for the most part, I will try to have the stories post to my Instagram as well as Facebook. Facebook's just a lot different. It's just a whole different world, honestly, because it doesn't have the organization and stuff like Instagram does. So for instance, when you go to my Instagram, you can see all my highlight bubbles, which I kind of need to organize too, but they, with all different topics so that those stories can live on. And I know Facebook kind of has that now, but it's just different. It's just not as aesthetically easy to navigate and stuff, so people won't do it. And then also what I do is, here's another tip. Certain scenarios, a Facebook page will work, but that's usually if you're already pretty well established and have a decent following or a big team and stuff like that. My recommendation though is a Facebook group. That is where I will post. When I post something on Instagram, I'll go and basically copy and paste it all into the group. Kind of just to keep it alive though. I'll be honest, the Facebook group, the algorithms are different. It's just not as inviting to engage, and so I try to keep that going there, because I do have customers who don't have Instagram and I want to like serve them as well. But yeah, it's mostly Instagram is just a lot more user friendly to get content.
Yeah. It's awesome. I noticed that your Instagram, it's like it has a lot of natural lighting, a lot of blue. Like, did you do that on purpose to create that?
Yeah, I didn't used to do that. I just didn't really cared too much. And then to be honest, I really just did it. So I really have I've had several other business things happening or jobs or whatever up until when Matt and I got married. So it's really just been the last year, little over a year, that I have been doing only doTERRA and nothing else. So I've just had more time to put into it. And again, don't let that intimidate you. Like, I like photography, so does Matt. Like, we travel a lot, so we're able to get some pretty cool pictures and stuff. But like, that doesn't, it doesn't need to be that way. But I will say it's worth a little bit of effort and thought, just because now everything is so online.
I do have one more question.
You're muted. Oh no, I was open.
I do have one question. When you get your visuals, like, did you say you use OneDrop?
Yes. So some of them I make, but most of them come from OneDrop, which is super worth it. I mean, you can pay monthly. I think now they have something where you can even get like smaller packages, but it's really worth it.
Have you checked out the doTERRA Social? Do you think the OneDrop is more visually appealing than doTERRA Social even?
I've glanced at doTERRA Social. I honestly haven't dove really deep into it, but a lot of my team uses it and they like it. But I'll just be honest, I think OneDrop's a little better. But the thing it's so hard to say because everybody's gonna find their own flow with social media. So OneDrop, it can post the things for you. The problem with that is people can feel it a little bit, and you can edit the post and stuff. Like, you can make it say what you want to say. The whole point of OneDrop, the reason like Keely created that and everything, is because corporate comes out with images, and then all million of us or whatever are using those. So OneDrop is much more diverse and a little bit less corporate looking. So OneDrop is good if you don't have time. If you have a full-time job, like I definitely or doTERRA Social, definitely try that, because it can post things for you. I mean, that's better than nothing. What I would say you should do though with that is just also be on there so that you can be responding to comments. If don't let it just run it like a robot, and people know it's a robot.
You have given us so much lately, so much. Okay, so here we have, how do you engage your cold market after they enroll? So many ghost you is what this Elaine asked. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have a welcome email. I may have sent it to you before, Tina, or I sent you something that I made on Flowdesk. I'm not quite sure.
You sent me the one cash offer to do a class.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you still use Flowdesk, right? Flowdesk is really beautiful, by the way.
Flowdesk is so awesome. So I have a welcome email that goes out to everybody, and I try to make that pretty enticing. So in there, I like introduce myself a little bit if it is more of a cold market or anyway. And then I have a list of like all the stuff they get from me for free. And what I do is I offer a welcome package, but what I do, and you could do this in a different version or whatever, but what I do is I write there, they get a free welcome package, and then in kind of parentheses near it, I say, just reply back confirming your address on file. Now I know that's probably their right address and I can see it, and they just enrolled, that's where their oils are going. That's just what I do. Again, that's a call to action to get them to actually respond. Yep. And kind of engage with me, and a lot of times too, because if it is a month that I'm enrolling higher numbers and they don't respond, then a lot of times I won't send it. It does kind of depend, but I got to this point where I was like, okay, what am I doing? Am I offering it am I sending this to every single person and whatever? And so I realized, if they can do something as simple as type a quick thing back from their phone or whatever, like, it's funny how something so small tells a lot about a person. But likely they're going to be a good customer and engage with you and likely go beyond that. So I do try to, even in the title of the email, I'll say, I used to call it welcome to doTERRA. They're already getting kind of emails from doTERRA, right? So now I make mine free doTERRA welcome box. And so it makes them want to open it. And then in there, I link up my Facebook, I link up my Instagram. I link up just all the, like, a bunch of resources. I even link up the Modern Essentials app, because here's the thing with, unfortunately, the ghosting thing is just part of today's culture, especially now that we're all on. It's too easy. Like, and even me sometimes, like, I want a product and then I want to be done with it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want, like, unsubscribe, no offense, but I got my product, I'm good. So, and you know, that's not how we want it to be, but that's how you're going to run into it. So what I try to do is I put in there about setting up a like wellness consult or lifestyle overview, whatever you guys call it. So I put in there about that, but then I also put in pretty much all the resources they would need if they didn't want to talk to me ever again. So I put in there resources and I link up stuff. I link up the doterra podcast and, like I said, the Modern Essentials app so that they have it, because they're still empowered. The ideal thing is to get them on, you know, at this point Zoom, but somehow face to face. But if you can't, then it's still empowering them to equip them with resources.
They want the Modern Essentials app. They just pay that, what, $6.99 for it then?
It's actually only $3.99 now. There's stuff within it that you can pay for, but you just don't even really need it. So you can get everything you need for the $3.99 one time $3.99.
Okay. Well, this has been so helpful. It's 11 o'clock there now, and I'm sure Luca may wake up about 2, right? Does he wake up at 2 to eat? Or
you know, we got really lucky. He most of the time sleeps anywhere from 10 to 12 hours through the whole night. So he just started teething. So he may wake up once around like 3:30 or something, but
yeah. Wow.
He's been pretty
amazing. Okay. Well, oh yeah. Dr. Lisa said that's amazing. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, my husband has, okay. She has to go.
Okay.
Oh, I'm okay.
Are we having a COVID baby?
Oh my gosh. We joked about, we were like, we should have just named him COVID.
That's funny.
Yeah, we had him right after the lockdown.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions? I think we're all challenged to do our legacy, our social media, to pay off all our debt, and to
Dave Ramsey for the debt. Go follow all of his.
Yeah, get some mentors. So thank you.
Live like no one else, so you can live like no one else.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Thank you so much, Heather.
You are so good.
We will see you around. I think I'm coming to your team on the 30th, right?
Yes, the 30th. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'll be there. You let me know what you need from me. But I love the collaboration. All right.
I know. I love it. It's been so fun.
It has. Truly. Love you very much.
Thank you.
I love you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good luck on the race for your husband.
Yeah. Great job. Thanks, Heather.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Stop recording.